Nordisk.
All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy, yes, triumvirate day, right, Tracker? I think Kat agreed. Did he not?
Yep, he did. We're definitely going to do the show tonight. We'll see you guys at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on the YouTube. It's youtube.com/meow and men.
Well, no,
Meow
I think
and
he changed it. I think he
oh,
changed it to
oh, did he?
triumvirate TA. Yeah, I think every time you post that,
Oh
he corrects you. I think he's done it
my God!
like a few
You're
times.
getting it wrong this whole time. All right, Triumvirate TA on YouTube.
Yeah, but I always post the links beforehand, anyways, so it'll be
That's
okay.
good.
But yeah, let's just get started with what's going on pre-market here. So if we just look at the SPY, we can see it's just kind of flat pre-market. No big deal. Nothing exciting. Nothing terrifying. And we're still approaching that 1.272 fib. So 648.98 is still our resistance target to try to break above. And right now we're just range bound. I would say looking for direction. This is the daily candle. So the daily cloud is over here. So maybe you might just want to gravitate sideways or down a little bit, get closer to the cloud before going higher. That's a normal process. So we're just going to have some patience there and just watch things be probably range bound for some time, maybe this whole week, in fact. So no excitement yet until it can break above that 648. QQQ did try to break above its 1.272 fib, but it is getting rejected now. So 578.46 was hit, and now it can't stay above. So if it can't stay above, it might need to retrace a little bit lower, maybe 571, 572, maybe even down to the 560s, getting closer to the cloud as well before trying to break out above. So I'll be a little bit cautious here for QQQ since it already hit its higher time frame resistance right there at the 578. And IWM is looking really nice. I still have a little arrow pointed at that 886 because that is looking like the likely target as long as this 226.80 holds. And it's been performing super well since it broke out last Wednesday, right? Over like almost a week ago, it broke out, back tested it every single day, and now we are seeing that price is stabilizing on top of this previous resistance zone, flipping to support. Very, very bullish scenario for IWM. And I think if this can maintain, it will continue the journey to the 235.05 above. Let's do Tesla and Bitcoin. So Tesla, we can see still range bound as well. Still a very nice, healthy looking chart. Very, very bullish actually, because it's finally above all the indicators, right? No matter what people say on my X in the comments, oh, I'm going to short it. It's very bearish. It's a very risky thing to do when things are actually stabilizing on top of all types of support, right? You usually don't want to risk losing money that way, but this is a perfect consolidation zone, and it could stay here for maybe some weeks, just in between the arc and maybe the 320s here. Just keep on trying to find direction until it's ready to break the 347, 348. And then that big target is really the 886 here, 353.19. Once it can break above that, then we'll see the 400s again. But until then, we're going to be range bound, probably boring people to death until it's ready to break out. So until then, probably more people calling for a collapse in Tesla, which is the least likely scenario. Bitcoin. Bitcoin, we can see it's maintaining a base still on top of this top arc. So I did point out the other day on X, actually yesterday, that if it can't hold this arc, it might need to go back down to the conversion line, which is at 112, 111. So we could see a back test of 112 if it can't hold that arc. But so far, every time price goes down there, it's actually bouncing. Like yesterday, even overnight, it just keeps on holding that arc as support. So guess what? We're just still maintaining a nice zone. Not ready to break out higher yet, but still stabilizing on top of support with even more support below. So still a very healthy and bullish chart, but whether or not we need 110 or 112 in that zone, it's still undecided because we don't know if there's going to be another liquidation event to get us there or not. But either way, it's a very healthy chart. Tracker?
You know, just looking at your chart, I'd watch and see how that Ichimoku baseline creeps up and creeps up. Maybe when it gets to your next arc or your next line there, maybe that's when it'll test back down.
The baseline is the past 26 candles, so we'll see. Is it going to move at all? No, it's not going to move for a while.
Yeah, that's
because
what I
it
mean.
takes the low. It takes the low of the last 26, and it's right here. So it's going to have a few more weeks to go before it gets there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we could see. Just more weeks of sideways. All right. Well, thanks. I've got the my VIX chart to show off to everybody, and it's just been a really great way to watch how, if it's risk on, risk off, how things are going in the market. I'm just talking while Mattsby's finding my. There we go. Thank you. My VIX chart to show you. Um, we've got this support trend line and this resistance trend line. And here was Friday. No, that's Wednesday. Here's Friday right here, Friday, August 15th. And it started to creep up. And then Monday, it opened just under this moving average 75, the wick. And, we're trending back down again. So it looks like the market mood wants to, more risk on, I'd say. Probably going to keep, every time it comes back, it's going to keep coming back deeper and deeper past the take profits line. I'm hoping what we see towards, I don't know, like late this summer, then like in October, spookiness where it's back up here again, followed by end of the year where it just keeps, where maybe it doesn't even cross the take profits line anymore. It's like extreme greed kind of comes back up here, extreme greed kind of comes back up here, extreme greed, and then it finally like relents, and then you get like the end of the year, beginning of 2026 sell off. So that's what I'm looking for anyway. So yeah, just keep one of these around handy. You kind of get an idea of like, oh, should I be closer to selling to take profits, or if anything, if it ever comes up here, that's, you definitely want to buy any wick on the 4-hour VIX up to this trend line, which is easy to make. You can just go from here through these three lines there. Okay, I don't disagree with anything Matt said about Tesla or Bitcoin. So let's just go on to the requests. There's a request for Baba. Let me just go over to these ones here. Oh, before I show Baba, let me show you Open. I've been tracking this one. I talked about how, this chart is definitely if it's above the halfway point to the one, that's a type A chart. This has definitely been a type B chart, but look, it's about to become a type A chart again. If it can get price over this halfway point between the all-time high and the all-time low in the log scale chart, then it can be a type A chart, and it'll be exploring this whole zone here between $4.50 and $40. So there's your 10x possibility there. Keep an eye on Open. I like it from here. You can see it broke this bearish trend line, tested back to it, and seems to be going up higher. So anyway, just want to share that with you guys. Here's Alibaba. Come on, Alibaba. Alibaba also, very much like the chart we were just looking at. I mean, it was like a B type, it was an A type, and then it went back to a B type again. It's still a B type because it's still, price action is below its center pivot. It tried to break out back here in February. Let's see if it can do it again. If it can get over $136.10, test back to it, then it can become a type A stock again and begin exploring these zones up here. Let's see. I just want to contrast that with something like Galaxy, which is a type A stock, which is about to turn into a type S stock, superior, right? Because it's already done the lower half, the upper half is just about, well, it is. It's over the 100% of what I've called the 100% fib retracement. It hasn't quite touched it back here. Maybe it doesn't have to. But yeah, it's going to be exploring this whole new zone between $27 and $150. All right, just keep going. Open, and then I'm gonna. I just did open, and I'm going to do hymns, and I'm going to give it back to Matt after hymns here. So here's my hymns chart. Let's see. I propose that perhaps we'd be getting 4183 again, and then we haven't quite gotten there, but it could still happen. See this wick to this halfway point? This is a halfway point between this high and this low right there. And so maybe it's going to repeat the wick. It doesn't have to. It could come close to it. Maybe it could leave a little bit of a space, maybe to 42.71 instead of 41.83. And then it should climb its way back out. It is a type S stock now. HIMS is because it's over its 100%, and it's exploring this range between $25 and $100, and it's currently at $45. I'm about halfway there. All right, so I'm bullish on that, obviously. Oh, I said I'd get back to Matt now. So take it
Yeah.
away, Matt.
I got Lululemon here. Seen a lot of requests for this one in my Patreon too. And here we go. So I focus on this one. I'm focused on the monthly candles because this is showing a breakdown, right? It's a breakdown from the high time frame. This is actually turning into a high time frame bearish chart. And we can see that ever since it broke below the cloud for the second time, it came back up and flipped the monthly cloud to a resistance. This is basically the game over, right? Once it came back up, confirmed as a resistance, it just went lower. And can it come back up to like the 230s or 240s before rolling over? I think it is possible to do that, right? But I think what we're seeing now is a previous support zone, 234. You can see this big breakout. We had the first back test. It held nicely, in fact. Then the second back test did not hold, and we lost that support. So this is a previous high time frame support flipping to resistance. This is bearish, right? So now we have the potential to even go back down to the ARC 170s. The 200-month moving average is at 159, and I think it's probably going to trend that direction, right? Even if it needs to come back up to the 230s first, I think it's going to trend in that direction over time. So this is a chart that I would stay clear of, because it's not looking very good. And you know what else looks really, really similar to this one, where it had like a little V bottom from below the cloud in August of last year, and then is basically below the cloud now. It's actually
UNH?
TTD.
Oh, TTD.
TTD.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
TTD is almost similar to Lululemon, right? How it came down, held support, V bottom out of there. Then it got rejected right at the 886, and now it's in jeopardy of doing what Lululemon did, right? All that's saving it right now is the 100-month moving average there at 52.08. So we'll have to see how things develop. But, usually when things start to break below and then flip the monthly cloud to a resistance, then it's kind of game over and things want to go lower. So it's really going to be crucial to see how this candle actually closes the month, right? The month is not over yet. There's still 10 days left, so maybe it can just turn into a long wick and start to close closer and closer back towards the cloud here in the 60s. So we'll see if that can develop. But this is shaping up very similar. And if it does close a month below it, then maybe next month can go back up to the cloud into the mid 60s, flip it to resistance, and then go lower to the 40s or even the 20s, right? So we'll see about TTD, but it's shaping up kind of like how Lululemon was. So I'm cautious with that. Anything that breaks the monthly cloud, you got to be cautious with, because it's a loss of a trend. It's a loss of a trend. So with that, I'll take it back to you, Trekker.
All right, I've got we did ELF yesterday, so I'm skipping that one.
Yeah.
Here's Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSM, and I want to show you something kind of interesting here. Is that typically a lot of people would take the retracements and they just go from this high to this low and say, okay, it's a type S stock, and it's been just rocking and rolling here. But you know what? One of the things that I like to see in a retracement is something that's resistance, a big resistance and a big support afterwards at the 50%. So what I did was I pulled this up right to about here. See this big test back right there? It's like resistance, and then it kind of fights, and you can see a bunch of these other fibs seem to hang out really well. I like this for, actually, wait, I think I did it this way right there. This is the last test back of the 50% before it gets the 702, then the 78, no, I got to pull it down a little bit. 786, the 702, it gets to the 100%, goes to the 786, and right here is where it regains the 886. And so I kind of view this as being at the 1.114 now. Anyway, it's definitely TSM is a type S now. It's in this green range up here. And I did a linear fib extension from the all-time bottom, this high to this higher low. And that looks like it's Dopplering into the 1.272 here. So, something like, let's do real quick. Gosh, like 100, and then 50, and then maybe 150, and then not quite the 7.6. Maybe I should just move this a little bit, but something like that. If you want to take a screenshot of these numbers in blue that those are approximately where it's probably headed next. So it's probably going to 309.52 next. Let me just put the 250 in there. No, I'm not going to take too much time with this. You can see it's just going to head higher. Except this wave one should really have all right, never mind. I'm not going to get into it too much, but TSM bullish, right? Over a long time. Just hang on to it. Hive. I haven't done. You know what? I should probably do the. I could show my old Hive chart, I suppose, but I really want to see it this way. 50%. A lot of it's trying to regain this halfway point again. So it's a type B stock, and if I just do a quick linear fib extension right to there, it's got a lot to do still. So I mean, basically, I'd have to kind of guess at it. Like a 382, 236, 1236, 764, 2236, something like that. You're used to showing me. You're used to me showing it to you on a linear scale here. This is the log scale. All right, there. You can take a screenshot of that. That's probably what. At minimum, it should go to like the 382 before pulling back to the 236. All right, I'll do one more thing back to Matt. I'll do. I lost a high. Oh, BMNR. BMNR is next. So Bitminer, I decided to just do it from sort of ignore this history for now. So here's the high I'm using, and here's the low I'm using. I'm ignoring whatever this craziness was. So it's trying to get back above it technically is above the 50%, the center pivot here between this high and this low. But it hasn't gained the 618 yet. So 8042 will be the next major resistance, but hopefully it can get over it. Let me get a lot closer to this one. 16-hour. Yeah, it could need one more touch back to the center pivot at 41, but it's 54. Well, it just might anyway, unless I'm wrong about the 50%. I don't know. I'd just be wary. It could definitely come back to 41.18 one more time, but should want to get over the 618 and then test back to it. Maybe the 702, right? Let's look. Oh, I've now got it twice. Why did you move? Sorry, I'm kind of moving these around. I don't even need that one. All right, something like that. So look for more handles on this big old cup. Here's where the 100% is. Cup. A really fast run back up again, and then a bunch of handles. So there you go. That's my take on Bitminer. Bullish from here, I think. All right, back to you, Matt. Oh, no,
yes, Bitminer, good chart. Could be going later on. Let's go continue on the trend here with breaking through the monthly Ichimoku cloud and do a Novo. Here we go. Well, look what's happening. Monthly cloud. So we got what was it? Lululemon. We got TTD. Now we got Novo Nordisk, and pre-market it is up a little bit, but right there, if we zoom in, we can see it's basically right at the bottom of the cloud. So is it going to go higher? Well, we are going to find out, right? There's 10 days left until the monthly candle close. We'll see if it can actually gain some momentum, get back inside the cloud, and maybe get saved, right? If that's the case, then maybe $70 could be the next target. But right now we are at resistance, right? So it broke down, flipped into resistance, and it is at resistance. So there is no guarantee to go higher at this point, right? And I don't like to do these charts or buy these kind of charts because it's just like trying to bottom fish, and there's no need to try to bottom fish when you have so many other bullish stocks. So with that, does it have potential to hold here? Yes, this is a high time frame support, the 1.618 breakout, basically back test, another back test of it. So it did hold the high time frame support. But we don't know if it's going to actually just be a big trend change and close below the monthly cloud. And it did it before. if we go back in time, it did it once before, how it went below the cloud a little bit, but then it got saved, right? It went inside the cloud and then it came back higher and then trended higher. So it could do something very similar how it did back in the past. But the difference here was it was on top of the blue 100-month moving average, right? That was the difference. It was saving it there. This time it's different, right? It's below the 100-month moving average. So it's in a situation that we haven't seen in a very long time. So will it break higher? Only time will tell. But for me, I don't like charts like this. I don't like it when it breaks below with a big bearish engulfing candle. And now we can see that the 100-month moving average is acting as a potential resistance with the cloud. So we'll see how 10 days will develop, if it can close back in the cloud or not. But otherwise, if it cannot, there's a risk of just keep on drifting lower and lower. And we got to remember that 200-month moving average is down below at 35.37. So if it can't break back inside, if it can't break back above the 100, then it's likely going lower. Let's take a look at what is that? APPF.
AppFolio.
AppFolio. Well, yeah, it's a bullish chart, right? Month over month, very nice. We can even put on some fibs from the high to the low here, just to show you week over week what it's really dealing with. And it got rejected at the 1.618. So the 315.10 is our resistance. It came right back down to retest support. So it is doing a back test right now, which has potential to stabilize. It's a previous resistance, breakout back test, flipping to support. So it does have potential to hold right here. There is a lot more support below if it did choose to go down to the 230s again, right here to retest the cloud and all that stuff. But it's not guaranteed because this is a big resistance zone trying to flip to support. And currently it is holding that zone. So we're going to keep paying attention to that. 265.05, stay above it. It gets more bullish, but it cannot break out further until this 315.10 gets broken. All right, Tracker, back to you.
Here's another take on AppFolio. It's kind of interesting. There are, again, there's many ways to interpret this. And one thing I kind of like to do is, again, look for a place in the chart where it was really tough resistance, but then it got over it and then tested back to its as support twice. So I would kind of want to call this the halfway point, the center pivot, right here at 81.40, which means it's still an A-type stock, and it's working on trying to get to the 886. First, it's got to work on the 786 here. And I think a little 786 action to get over the 886, touch back to it, and then it can become a type S stock. So it looks really, it's had a fantastic, it still has a fantastic trajectory. It basically just goes only up, right? So this one looks great. I'd buy any pullback and then just hang on to it from there. Let's see, AppFolio.
What about your
Yeah, we haven't done this one in a long time. Energy Fuels. Let's see.
Too many U's. I can't handle it.
So many U's. All right. Well, this one we could definitely do.
Cat's in the chat. What the heck?
Hello, Cat.
Wow, I just saw that. Good morning, Cat.
All right. So this is what I'm calling a Type B stock. It's down here under the 50% level. It's not a Type D stock, which is really good. I should put this here. But yeah, it's trying to get back over this halfway point between the all-time high and the all-time low. 1370 is the magic number. Actually, I do want to put this back. I think, no, crap. I have to bring this one down. I've been getting really subjective with these fibs, but they seem to work out pretty well. Resistance, support, resistance. Actually, it's really close to, it's trying to get over this halfway point now, I think. And see, I can just call, like, maybe this is the 100% right there. And there's the bottom. Here's the 114, 50%, 298, 50%. Yeah. So, once you can get over 1065, that's the magic number. If you want to just put an alert on your trading view or whatever app you use, once it gets over 1065 and test back to it, that's where that would be a great place to buy it, because the price exploration in the A zone is much nicer than the support kicking in the B zone down here. So no telling how long it'll take for it to get over 50%, but once it does, this part will go a lot better and a little more smoothly. Let's see. IREN breakout. Let's take a look at IREN. So here's my RN chart. And like, we've been talking about Palantiring. I showed you Palantirs before. It's an S-type. This one's an A-type. It's about to transition into an S-type once it gets over 28.25, $20.25. And it's working on it. I mean, it is a breakout. The candle bodies are over the 886 here. So let's look at these are monthly candlesticks. Here's a 16-hour chart. Yeah, this looks really good. It's above my 886. It already tested back to it with this teeny little wick yesterday, and could probably just go all the way up to 28.25 and maybe even a little higher my 2236 at 38.40 is where I'm looking for this to get up and then maybe test back down to. Sometimes it comes back to the 886. Maybe it won't have to do that. But anyway, just something to think about. I'm going to leave it there for now. All right, that's it. Back to Matt.
All right.
CLSK.
Let's go take a look at MP here. Just wanted to take a look at it simply because I think it's time to cool off a little bit. And here's my MP chart. So it had a big breakout of the previous 2022 high right back here. And now we're cooling off a little bit. So I think before it wants to get to this 98.02 up here, I think there is a potential to even backtest that $60 range. So it's time to be a little bit no chasey, right? Don't need to chase these things. It's a big breakout. Let it cool down. It was a massive breakout, really, from this breakout backtest of the ARC and the 382 from $19 and went to $70. So yeah, there's no reason to chase up here. I think just let it cool off. Could go down to the 60. Could even go back down to the 8862 at 49. Whatever. But right now, I'm just looking for a backtest, right? Just waiting for that backtest. Let's see if the $60 at least comes before it wants to continue the journey higher. We got Pan W as well. Palo Alto Networks. It's kind of gapping up this morning. We do have a big holding of support here, right? The setup was there kind of really the whole time. It was a big breakout of the ARC, back tested the blue 100-week moving average, and it broke out again, and then it back tested the 100 again. And there was a risk of maybe going to lose that 100, but the trend was your friend so far, and it was stabilizing on top of it. And because of that, it was a setup for the continuation higher. And now you're seeing that with the 186 or 187.58 pre-market, which is the top of the cloud, the conversion line, the 50-week moving average. So we're right there at resistance again, right? Bullish at support, we'll be cautious at resistance, and even more cautious at that 2.272, 196.65, because every single time it tried to break above, it failed to do so. So we could just still be in a giant range for Pan W, and anywhere from current price up to 196 is resistance until proven otherwise, which means it could easily come back down to the 170s, mid 170s again to retest support before going higher. So right now, yes, it looks like a big breakout, but it's still just range bound, and it's actually at resistance right now. And let's see here. I see CPSH. I don't think we've done that on this show, have we? Or have we? Here we go. CPS Technologies. We can see that it broke above this 236 right here, and that was at 268. And we even broke above that 200-week moving average, which was the confluence of a breakout backtest. And it had the continuation higher. So the next fib level above is going to be this 425, the 382. So if all of this support in the 260s can hold, then I believe it can gravitate to the 425 above and get more and more bullish. So yeah, CPSH, it actually looks pretty good right now for the potential to continue higher. All I need to do is stay above 260s. Tracker, back to you.
All right, here's a Marvell Technology. Here's the whole thing in monthly candlesticks, just to give you an idea. That's definitely a Type S stock here. It already explored the 1 to 0. This is a crazy move it did from the 114 all the way back to the 298 back here in the 2000s. And then, once it, let's see, 2021, it gets over the 100% to the 141, back to the 114, almost to the 1618. So you can see this one just likes to really run up and down and up and down. Just try to get a sense of the chart here. It could come back down some more to this 56 level. Let's look at it closer on the chart. The 114 acting as resistance, it might want a touch back down to the 5606 unless it can get over 8139 first and break out. So basically, I see two directions for this, right? So either it does this and then goes higher, or it does this, can't get higher, and then it just has to go back down. So look out for these two possibilities with Marvell. Just in respect to what does it do at 8139 next? Does it get over it, or does it get rejected by it? And that's what I have to look for. Let's see what the Ichimoku Cloud says. Ichimoku Cloud says nothing. It's too early to tell. It's not. The cloud hasn't quite reached there yet. So price currently is just underneath the Ichimoku baseline on my 16-hour chart. So beware. Oh, I should pull up my 75s and 300s here too. It is under the 300. Can't get over the 300, and the 75 is coming up to see if it'll be support, or if it falls to the 75 and gets under it, then it's going to do this path here. All right, there's Marvell. It seems to be at a crossroads, I would say. And then let's see. I'm going to do. I'll let Matt do ONDS. I'm going to do CRWV because I've been looking at that one a lot actually for my friend Alberto. Let's see. You can see I've been looking at it a lot. Ichimoku. I'm just going to get rid of this for the moment. You can see Ichimoku seems to want to maybe get back up here. It's pretty far from the cloud now down here. They had that the IPO lockup expiration, so all the people that originally invested it could sell off to it, and the market just went crazy. Like, oh no, they just started thinking, well, it's going to sell off. They just really bought into the fear that all the IPO lockup people were going to sell, and so the rest of the market sold in advance. Let's see. Let me get a lot closer here. On the 8-hour chart, I've been working on this. It's possible that it could want a double bottom here at 93.16. I did this yesterday before, like earlier in the afternoon. 98.55 was the important local support. That was the halfway point between the 104 top and this 93.16 bottom. Well, it lost that, and it's underneath it now. So it seems very likely to continue following this black trend line. So I don't know if it's got to go. The thing is, right, it could go all the way back to the center pivot. Like if you look at the whole, let me go back to the weekly chart. Weekly chart from the all-time high to the all-time low, the halfway point, which these are all in the way of, it has not been tested back to. This could be a test back to it. So beware, 79.17 is a possibility. The 618 should be the strongest support of the upper half. So the candle body is still just on top of that. No, well, it's just below it at the moment. Right? But the candle body seems to be mostly on top of it on the weekly. So if it can't reclaim 96.97 and go higher, then lower remains the possibility for CoreWeave. If it does drop back to that 50% point at 79.17, I'd buy the hell out of that. I'd buy a lot of that because it's likely to become support and then move back up again. But anyway, CoreWeave it's a type A stock until it loses 79.17. Right, we just had a little crazy, and the stock isn't even a year old, so it's had it's going to have some wildness to it. All right, back to you, Matt.
Yes, I'll finish the show with that ONDS chart. And yeah, 618, 357. It is looking like it wants to be a support now. If that's a support, next resistance 490, 690. That's going to be the next zone above. But it was already set up before then, right? We can see once it broke above the cloud back in July, it was building a base on top of the cloud there, right? It was still stuck under that 50% fib, but it was maintaining that base, which was a perfect setup to break out, and that's exactly what it did. So If you didn't really buy that down here, I would not be really chasing up here because it's getting closer and closer to the big zones up here, the 490s and the 690s. So if there were a back test of 357 or maybe even a little bit lower in the 280s, 290s, then that could be the new opportunity. But right now, I'm just going to be observing this one because we'll see if it can hold, right? But it was a breakout. It's a more and more bullish chart, and it does have potential to keep going. But it already had a big 60% candle, then an 8%, and then now it's up even more pre-market. So just I don't chase these kind of stocks. So just got to be cautious the higher it goes, because the higher it goes, the lower your or the worse your risk reward. So tracker, go ahead and finish this off.
I want to do my counter Ondas here. This is also ONDS on the weekly candlesticks here, and from its all-time high of $19.50 to its all-time low of 31 cents, you can clearly see the log scale cup and handle, and now it's working on the many handles to finish this larger cup. And yes, indeed, probably when it gets to the 786 or the 886, it'll make another handle. But for now, see this tiny little bit of this little teeny sliver of orange right there? That is my 300 week moving average. I think it wants to go there. I think it wants to go to 570. So I'd say there's a really good chance it's going to keep going there before it gets rejected the first time. What am I looking for this thing here? So 401 is where we are right now. From 401, it's about 38, 39% higher. Well, to get to the orange part, to get to 570, that's like, yeah, almost 41, 42% higher. So I don't know. I guess I'm telling you to chase it. I think you could chase it. It could come down a little lower here. Let me look at the 60-hour chart. It kind of looks like it's already kind of done. I mean, it could do a lot of price action around 403, which is sort of what this is trying to tell you. Like it could come back down here and then ride it back up again. So what is that? That's like 343 ish. Let me be scientific about it. If I go from here to here and give it show me 0 to 1 left, 'cause I don't want the 0 to 1 right because it's uh, sorry, here we go. I've got this one facing the right direction. Yeah, the 618 should be the strongest support of the lower half. So it could fall as low as 334. It doesn't have to. It already kind of tested that before here. So yeah. Anyway, I think that there's a bigger upside than downside to 570 next, and eventually, it's transitioning from a Type B stock. It is now a Type A stock because it's above the center pivot. All right, that's it. That's all the time that Matt has, and the market's going to open in a little while. So you guys want to get out there and get trading or not trading. Sometimes you just want to not do anything. Oh, the last thing I wanted to say was I noticed this morning when I looked at my watch list, I saw the least amount of movement in pre-market of all my watch list stocks, and I've seen it a long time, which could mean that we'll see a lot of movement today during the regular trading hours. That's a kind of a rare thing these days. It seems market makers like to do all the big moves in pre-market and after hours, and then leave us the scraps to sell off during the day. But maybe we could get some moves today. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the Triumvirate meets again.
Yep. We'll see you guys tonight. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Kat.